Today we have a 2025 Kia Sportage. In this video, I'll talk about what the Sportage is, how I feel about the interior space, and what it's like to drive it. Now, the segment of compact SUVs is more competitive than ever with more than a dozen vehicles to choose from, and believe it or not, when the Sportage first came out more than 30 years ago, it didn't have that many rivals. Something that was once a body-on-frame construction co-developed with Mazda is now a full-grown unibody SUV.
The Sportage is built on a modular platform shared with other Hyundai and Kia products and is offered in three powertrain variants. A base 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with 187 horsepower and two hybrids, a 227 horsepower conventional hybrid and a 261 horsepower PHEV with 34 miles of electric range. Let's focus on the base 2.5-liter since this is what we're working with today. Pricing varies from about 27 grand for an entry-level LX to $40,000 for this top-of-the-line ruggedized X Pro. Now, don't let the all-terrain tires, all-wheel drive system with locking center diff, and 8.3 inches of ground clearance fool you. From the aesthetic standpoint, the X Pro looks cool, but functionally, it doesn't really add that much.
Now, before we talk how it all works together, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space.
The cabin of the Sportage is truly impressive, although when you first take a look at it, nothing really stands out about it. Yes, the design is clean and simple, and yes, all the materials are of decent quality, but once you start interacting with this car, you will realize how easy to use it is. See, I jump from one car to another every week, and there are times when I'm simply overwhelmed and need a while to figure things out, but that never happens with Kia products, and the Sportage is no different. You get conveniently placed physical controls for things that matter, such as a dimmer, seat controls, or a 360-degree camera, and while I'm not the biggest fan of touch panel for climate controls or multimedia, it is nice not having to rely purely on the infotainment screen. Speaking of, it's great, but I do have one gripe with it, and it's placed far out and I found myself leaning forward way too many times to use it, and as you can imagine, that's not the safest thing to do while driving. Besides the screen's placement, the technology implementation is great. The infotainment system is intuitive with a logical menu structure and a nice graphics. The digital gauge cluster is customizable, letting you choose different themes and providing all the information you need. Unfortunately, displaying a full-screen map is still not an option. All you get is only turn-by-turn directions. Also missing is wireless connectivity for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I know, it's super inconvenient, so if you want to use it, you have to plug in your phone. Now, where the Sportage really shines is how much space it offers for a compact SUV. The backseat has a tremendous amount of room and you get all the amenities you need. Climate vents, USB-C ports to charge your devices, and adjustable backrest. Something that still isn't a thing in all SUVs in the segment. 40 cubic feet of space with the backseat up and 74 after folding it down are impressive results, and the storage throughout the cabin is pretty good with decent sized door pockets and good amount of space in the center console. Last but not least, the seats. Here in the X Pro with heating and cooling are very comfortable and offer decent adjustability, so you should have no issues finding a good seating position. One of the things I noticed about the Sportage when driving it is how user-friendly and comfortable it is. The dash is relatively low, so you get a great visibility up front. All the controls are within a reach, and the car does what 99% of buyers want. Makes driving easy, effortless, and not necessarily engaging. That's the one thing about the Sportage, it prioritizes comfort over everything else. The suspension is soft, providing great ride quality, the cabin is very well isolated from the road and wind noise, and the driver assist systems, including highway driving assist, which is Kia's level 2 semi-autonomous driving system, work great together. Now, I'm really curious how the more powerful hybrid and plug-in hybrid variants with a 1.6-liter turbo engine drive, because the base 2.5-liter unit with 187 horsepower isn't the most refined on the market and makes the Sportage feel underpowered. 0 to 60 in over 9 seconds speaks for themselves, and if you want to drive somewhat dynamically, you have to go past 4,000 RPM where the peak torque hits and rev the hell out of the engine. Generally speaking, if you're in that 1% looking for driver's compact SUV from a mainstream brand, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not what the Sportage is. The body control isn't all that great, the car has a tendency to lean in corners, and driving it, you basically don't feel any emotions. But you know what? That's totally fine with me, because the Sportage does what it was designed for, and even I, someone who loves being connected to a vehicle, will take ride comfort over overly stupid stiff suspension for no reason. I just like more power. Anyways, that's all I can say about driving the Sportage, so with everything we covered, let's jump to the final thoughts. Just like every other compact SUV in the segment, the Sportage has its pros and cons. What it does great is the interior space and overall usability. You get plenty of room, everything was well thought out, and I'm not afraid to say that this thing will meet the needs for a family with 2 kids with its cargo space and backseat room. Another positive is technology and the way it was implemented. It's here to help you and work with you, and not to annoy you or overwhelm you. I am, however, a little disappointed with the drivetrain, especially the power and the refinement of the 2.5-liter unit, but as I said in my driving impressions, I'm really curious how this thing drives in the hybrid and plug-in hybrid variants with the extra power from electric motor and high torque from the turbo engine.
If you have any questions about the Sportage, feel free to drop a comment and I'll answer them. Thanks so much for watching, I'll catch you guys later.